Hi, my name is Danica and today I have my December wrap-up. I read 9 books in December, starting with a reread of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This is my favorite book in the series. I liked it even more on rereading it. I love the arc, I love Neville's journey, I love the resolution, and this time I decided not to reread the epilogue, which I think added to the enjoyment. Next I read The Circle Opens Quartet by Tamora Pierce, which includes Magic Steps, Street Magic, Cold Fire, Shatterglass. The series takes place after the original Circle of Magic series, and it follows each of the 4 main characters as they begin their travels and as they each get their first student. I really enjoyed this series, though it was sad to see the circle broken up and not have them interact with each other. Each of their individual journeys is really interesting though, and they all have to deal with some pretty dark, difficult things. I liked seeing their growth and how they dealt with it, and I thought it was interesting that in 3 of the 4 books we also get the point of view of the antagonist, but that doesn't really make them any more sympathetic. This was a new style for Tamora Pierce, and I think it worked for the most part. Though I would have liked a little more complexity from some of the antagonists. Overall, I loved this series, mostly for the main characters, but also for the dramatic resolutions of their plots. Definitely recommended. Next, I reread my favorite book of all time, which is Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. This was actually my first time rereading it, and I was worried that I wouldn't like it as much the second time around, but I probably liked it even more this time. I just found it such a delight to read. The author calls it a lesbo-Victorian romp, and it's beautifully written, and it's so unapologetically queer. I mean, it's my favorite book of all time. I can't give it any higher praise than that. And then I kind of read Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I listened to the audiobook, but I found myself tuning out a lot. And I also think that part 9 was just part 8 repeated, so I'm pretty sure I missed a big chunk of the book, but I did listen to 18 hours of this, so I have to count it. I actually thought the beginning of this book was a lot more interesting than when they're actually on the boat. Ishmael and Queequeg have this great homoerotic relationship, and Ishmael kind of has to deal with his own racist assumptions as he's basically falling in love with this black man. I mean, overall this book is really racist. Don't get me wrong, but there are a couple of moments near the beginning that I thought were really interesting given the context of when they were written. Specifically, there's this story near the beginning where Queequeg is telling about landing in America for the first time, being given a wheelbarrow to transport his belongings. Not having seen one before, he puts his stuff into the wheelbarrow and then picks up the wheelbarrow and puts it on his shoulder and carries it to the inn. Ishmael responds to this story by saying, "Didn't everyone laugh at you? Shouldn't you have known better?" Queequeg says, yes, people laughed, but then he tells this story about a white captain who visited his village during a feast. And the feast begins with the punch being blessed by the high priest who dips his fingers in it. When it's passed to the captain, he begins to wash his hands in it because he thinks it's like a big finger bowl. And Queequeg ends the story by saying, "And didn't we laugh then?" I thought that was such an interesting story to include in this book written in 1851. It's basically saying that you can't judge people for not already knowing everything about a new culture. Or if you do, that in a different context you would be judged by those same standards. But at the same time, there are a lot of really racist stereotypes in this book, including Queequeg, who is literally a cannibal. I'd really like to read some criticism about race in Moby Dick. I think that would be really interesting. I also enjoyed some of the bits of philosophy that are scattered throughout this book, but overall it was a slog. There's a lot of descriptions of just the whaling industry. Even when they're chasing whales or they're in a storm or something dramatic was happening, I just wasn't invested enough to actually care. I'm glad I gave it a try, but it's not one that I'll be coming back to even if I did miss some of it. Then I read The Will of the Empress by Tamora Pierce. This is the book by Tamora Pierce that I've owned for years, but it's actually the 26th book that I read by her because of the order I was reading it in. This is also not coincidentally the Tamora Pierce book that has a lesbian protagonist. The funny thing is that as I was reading other books set in the Circle universe, like The Circle of Magic and The Circle Opens, I knew that one of the female main characters was a lesbian, but I didn't know which one. In the last 8 books I was trying to guess which one of them was the lesbian, which was kind of fun. I have a review of this book at the Lesbury, which I will link down below, but the basic points are that I really liked the lesbian subplot and how it was handled, still loved the main characters and how they interact with each other, and I appreciated the whole process of them coming back together as a family after they'd been apart for so long and had grown so much. I did feel like the plot was weak though, because at this point they're so powerful, especially together, that it would have to be something apocalyptic before you actually thought they had any chance of losing. I still really enjoyed it. Sadly, my last book of 2014 was a disappointment. It was Wintertown by Stephen Emmond, which I had written down down as a good winter read. I don't know when I did that. I decided I would read it in December. But it was cute enough, even though straight young adult romance is not really my thing. And I liked that there was art interspersed. I was going to give it a 3-star rating on Goodreads. It was a quick, easy read, but nothing too memorable. But then I decided to flip through the extras in this book, which includes this illustration, which includes a trans-misogynistic slur for no reason. I was so disgusted by that it soured the whole book for me. Especially because there have been other things that I was sort of giving the benefit of the doubt to, like Lucy being so delighted in the idea of having these 2 gay boyfriends as like accessories. And those all stopped having the benefit of the doubt once I read that. I tweeted the author and he said that he was disappointed in himself for that, so that's something. It was still sort of a bad note to finish the reading year on. I've got tons of great books that I'm looking forward to reading in 2015, so that'll be good. Those were all the books that I read in December. Let me know what you read last month, and if you have a video about it, feel free to link it down below and I'll definitely check it out. And thank you for watching. Bye!